Hi, so another video from me. Now, we know about military experimentation, weapons experimentation. I think we are also now seeing more about behaviour modification experimentation, attempted behavioural control. So, for example, with me, they have tried to enforce a sleeping schedule where if I go to bed after 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, for example, I am therefore only allowed to get 6 hours sleep. So that indirectly affects my behaviour. So I now have to go to bed earlier, for example. But we know it gets a lot more serious than that. That is basically trying to affect my behaviour on a very practical level. But there are also other attempted behavioural controls. And it's like they are testing the boundaries of how much they can get away with and how much the human being will accept and things like that. So one of the things I have noticed is that I also think that there is occult experimentation going on, and that is based on the fact that trauma releases very powerful emotions. The world is a lot more complex than the human eye can see, and there are energy fields. And this is what I was mentioning recently about thought energy. So, for example, as I mentioned the other day, I have been witnessing certain things with the Bible, that I can open a page of the Bible and there will be something relevant. So, for example, just the other day, I had been thinking about my initials, my name, and I just said, oh, I'd like to see my initials. I picked up the Bible, I twisted it round a number of times, I turned it upside down, over and over again, I flicked backwards and forwards through the pages, and I opened the Bible at a random page, and there it said the words, the lambs. Now, for people who know me, they know that my initials are LMB, and lambs is L, you got an A, MB, and then an S. Now, some people may not believe me when I say that, but for the people who are a bit more aware of these types of programs, what I think is happening is that they are seeing some kind of metaphysical response through inflicting trauma. What happens, I think, when people go through trauma and they are completely isolated is that the human being has no further option but to reach out to God and the universe because, they're trapped and there is no other way out. You can't access any other services or other human beings. And this, I think, is a massive part of their experiments. The supernatural effects and the way they can use techniques such as repetition in order to basically program someone's mind into generating these thoughts. And T.I. said it the other day that what they do is they use fear to make someone's worst nightmares actually manifest in reality. And I realise that this is all tied up to the mind control trauma-based satanic ritual abuse programs that they have been carrying out and we know about. They are having some kind of pseudo-investigation into these occult phenomena. So, a very important word that I will mention is that what I have been able to do recently is counteract their negative occult practices. They are using sheer repetition, which they can bombard your mind with simply because of their money. And that is some kind of attempted psychological takeover, but also an energetic takeover, trying to hijack your brain frequencies, if anything. And your brain frequencies can affect things. And I think this is part of the wider planned program to take over humanity. Because I don't see why anybody would be developing and refining these horrible takeover techniques for so long. So one of the ways that I have been overcoming their negative energy is by not being funny. What it seems as though is that these people are scared of the Bible and God because they realise that there is a power that they don't understand and that there is a power that is greater than them. Well, I don't even think they believe in God. I think that they are more atheist scientists who have witnessed a spiritual, metaphysical phenomenon. They don't tie it to God at the moment. But what I have found is that they have to find an explanation for this supernatural phenomenon, and therefore they do have a fear of God. What I've found, and I'm not trying to say that you should rely on God, what I have found, because it won't work if you don't believe in it, I don't think. What you will find if you start practicing with this, and I'm not trying to say you should all be wizards or witches, but what I think you should do is understand the energy dynamics of the universe and understand how they are using those to affect your life and your life experiences, and how they are using your sadness and your trauma and your fear states to actually fuel their empire. What you need to do is find out how you can twist that round, and it is possible. And what you have to do is you have to stay very, very righteous, and you have to stay very, very true and accurate. Okay, you have to be very honest with yourself. For example, instead of shouting at them and saying, you are a nobody and you are disgusting and, you know, you're a piece of crap, okay? What happens is, because they have been drenched in such filth for so long, not of their causing, because of the situation they were put in, they feel as though they are in the right. And then, even though you're swearing and blinding, they actually win that moral argument because their situation was so horrific. I mean, as I always say, you don't end up doing this to people without having a horrific situation. What you have to do, basically, is get them in a way that helps to rebalance the unfairness. So, for example, one of the things that I am getting them on is the fact that they are killing millions of children. Now, sounds a bit grimy, but no bullshitter can deny that killing millions of children is acceptable, okay? And that tilts back the energy. It tilts back the energy in my favour. I kind of feel that I've been drawn into these experiments, but it's time for us to stop being bullied by people and stop being used as hosts and fuel reserves. It is possible to turn round this entire thing using energy, okay? And it literally is by becoming very, very fair and keeping exactly to the truth. So I've got more things to say, but I will now just try to contain each point in separate videos. So I will end it here for now. Sending best wishes.